Welcome to the Get Published podcast, sponsored by Brodie Consulting Group. To get more information about our coaching, publishing, executive ghostwriting, and podcast production services, go to getpublishedpodcast.com. Hello, I am Paul Brodie, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Get Published podcast, where we help authors get published with a proven system that works. Today, we're being joined by Tiffanee Neighbors, author of The Unicorn Dreamer. Tiffanee, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks for having me.
We are thrilled to have you. Are you ready to begin?
I am.
All right. Question number one. What is the one piece of advice that you would give to a first-time author who is currently writing their book?
I would say know your why, your intention, why you're writing the actual book. A lot of times we are writing for a business purpose, marketing your business. Others, it's more sentimental, maybe some sort of attachment to community or educational piece. Whatever it is, know your why, because that ultimately drives your strategy. And then it also drives your factors strategy.
And what do you feel is the hardest part about getting published?
I think time management. Sometimes when you're running a business or you're employed, there are a lot of things that compete with getting the content written. There's also the level of perfection, I think, around that content and just knowing when to be done. And I guess along those lines, that goes back to, once again, content, time management, and it goes to the edits. So content edits are very, very tough sometimes.
Well, and I think that's the hardest part, is always any parts of the editing process and the proofreading process. That's the type of stuff that I pull out what little is left of my hair, just because it can be so stressful.
Yeah, well, you're invaluable.
Well, I'd like to talk a little bit about marketing. So please share a marketing strategy that you have used in your book launch that has worked well.
I used what I call a dream challenge, and in my instance, the main character dreams with big ideas. And so I try to focus on replicating that through this challenge that I issue, in my case, to young adults. And I challenge them to dream in the same way that the character in the book dreams. And so that creates a level of engagement, but it also walks them through the story. And it helps them to actually start to become creators, creative thinking, big idea thinkers.
Oh, and I love that. It promotes the book, promotes the launch, and it's also basically using real life application. What is it that they're learning? How are they able to use this in their lives?
Yes.
Perfect.
Exactly.
Well, speaking of books, I'd like to know, what is your favorite book and what was the number one thing that you learned from it?
I love to read, but I think John Maxwell's book, Intentional Living, is probably my favorite. And I think it's primarily because of the value that it provides in centering and helping to focus. It helps you to focus on your why, get to the heart of your purpose, and then just kind of, always being authentic.
And for a final question, what is your favorite quote and why?
I love quotes, so it's hard to choose just one. But I think it's probably, when writing the story of your life, don't let anyone else hold the pen. That would be my favorite, followed by all who wander aren't lost.
Excellent. And why are they your favorite quotes?
I think it's about empowerment, right? Which goes back to the whole genre, the book, the genesis of the book. It's about owning your story, and then accepting that kind of evolving over time, which could be perceived as wandering, is not a bad thing, right? Because at the end, you probably, in your heart of hearts, know where you need to go.
Excellent. Well, Tiffanee, I want to thank you for being a guest on the show. What is the best way for people to find you online?
I think the best way for them to find me is on my business website, and that's www.winnasium, winnasium.com.
Well, Tiffanee, thank you once again for being on the show, and I wish you all the best in your author journey ahead.
Thank you so much for having me, Paul. I enjoyed it.
Thanks again for joining us today. To learn more about how you can be featured in our brand new Get Published business book, go to getpublishedpodcast.com.